I will come again and take you to myself, that where I am, you also may be. And you know the way to where I am going." Thomas said to him, "Lord, we don't know where you're actually going. How can we know the way?" And we could add, "How long are you going to be gone?" Jim Ableton courted his wife Rebecca and won her undying love when he confronted Big Black Jake on Main Street of Vincennes, Indiana, confronting him for murdering her father, the judge. And after a nasty gunfight, which very few people actually saw because they were cowering on floors behind bars, Black Jake lay dead in the street. Jim Ableton rode his horse over to Rebecca, and without a word, he offered his hand to hers. She took it, mounted up side saddle behind him. He held her tightly, and they rode to the chapel where they got married, rode to the Wainwright where they bought a wagon, and rode west until they were west of St. Louis in the hills of Missouri, that wild land, that rich land of rivers and hills, of blue sky and lumber, and of good soil. There they stopped riding, and they made a home for a while. 3 years later, with a toddler on one knee and an infant in her arms, Rebecca heard Jim say, "I'll come again, and I'll take you with me, so that where I am, you also will be." She cried, and she said, "Do you have to go?" "There's a better land than this one," Jim replied, "a far better land with room to grow, where we can roam free on a ranch stretching from horizon to horizon, with horses to ride, cattle to herd, and people of every tribe, nation, and language. We can have all that under one sprawling ranch house. Do you see it, Rebecca? Do you see the oak grove out front shading picnic tables with branches swinging low to have swings tied to them so the children might frolic and play in a place where there is no fear, protected all around, and our servants will prepare roasts and pour wine and clean water every day and every night? Music will float from the outbuildings. Smoke will waft from the many, many hearths. Lights will be strung here and there, and we will dance, Rebecca, my love. We will dance where our morning will always be breaking and our twilight will never end, where our sun will never set and our love will flourish and grow forever. Do you see it? "Where is this place?" she asked. "It's my father's place," Jim replied. "It's in the mountains." "Where?" she demanded. He looked at her with great love. "When I come back for you, you'll know. In fact, you already know where it is." He mounted his horse, who champed eagerly at the bit, turning in a complete circle, and Jim pulled down on the reins. "Where?" she asked one last time. "Where I am," he said. "Do you believe me? I'm the one who killed Big Black Jake." "Yes," she said, "I saw that. I believe you." Jim loaded up his Winchester, checked for ammo in his gun belt, and clicked through the cylinders of his 2 Colt revolvers. "Don't you worry about me, and don't worry about yourself or the young'uns." With that, he turned his horse west and rode away. Did Jim Ableton come back to Rebecca and his children? You tell me. If Jesus is, then you are. Is Jesus? Then you are. Where is Jesus? Wherever. And where is that exactly? Not far. In fact, he's with the Father, and the Father is with him. And you know the Father, and you've seen him. Haven't you seen Jesus in the bread? And if you've recognized him in the breaking of the bread, you can ask him anything, and he will do it. Jesus says, "If you ask me anything in my name, I will do it." Snow White came to the dwarfs, And they received her with rejoicing and feasting. They danced with her and they sang with her. She sang to them and laid them to rest. They were the next morning refreshed, ready for a day's work in the mines, so they whistled as they went off to work, but not without a warning to Snow White. Don't open the door to any strangers. They were worried about the evil queen. They knew she was plotting for Snow White's very life out of jealousy. And she was busily casting spells to find Snow White, and then to create the poisoned apple, and finally to transform herself into a harmless old lady. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Snow White, of course. And fair maidens win bright apples, see? The fairest maiden wins the brightest apple, see? Snow White looked, and she saw that the fruit was good for food and also useful to make one wise. So she reached. No, Eve, don't reach for the forbidden fruit. But she did, and she did eat, and it was a poisoned apple, and she died. For what do the dwarfs pray? They are keeping vigil over her body in a bed trimmed with gold, all the world ceasing over the death of Snow White. For what do the dwarfs pray? And will he do it? It was the same for Briar Rose, the Princess Aurora, hidden away from the curse of the evil fairy Maleficent, whose name actually says, the doer of evil. The beauty and the character of this Briar Rose could not be kept secret in some peasant's hut, for she was a princess, the Princess Aurora, destined to rule the land with a king. A raven discovered Briar Rose, is she. And the raven flew immediately to the doer of evil, who tricked Briar Rose to prick her finger on a spindle. And now Briar Rose, the Princess Aurora, is the Sleeping Beauty. This great evil must be undone. But this great evil cannot be undone until the one who did the evil is undone. And who will undo evil and the doer of evil? Maleficent is the great dragon, the enemy of all God's creation, and she rises to do battle against this princeling of a prince, this proud and petulant prince who casts aside all the traditions of kings and men, throwing them down without regard to the consequences. Here he is, without a friend in the world, hanging from the cross, and the doer of evil will do his very worst, and blast with a mighty blast, and laugh with a mighty laugh, and the Son of God will hang dead. But not before he says, "It is finished." For it is in this battle, this struggle for the body of the Sleeping Beauty, where everything ceases so that we might mourn the death of Snow White, the Son of God, the Prince of Peace, bends down with the perfect kiss of love, where Satan finds that he is powerless to stop the kiss. Who really understands these things? Who can explain them? They can't be explained, but we can tell stories, to dig away at them, to find a little treasure here and there, a little token of the home Jesus is preparing for us. Where is Jesus? He is where he is, and he is coming again, so that where he is, also you are. Snow White awakens as though she were never dead, gazing into the eyes of her lover, the prince from who knows where. The sleeping beauty likewise awakens to claim a kingdom with her king. Of course he's coming back. Let not your hearts be troubled. If it were not so, would he have told you that he's going to prepare a place for you? This is the one who killed Big Black Jake, after all. This is the one who killed the great dragon. This is the one who, by dying on the cross, destroyed death. And he has us now. He holds out his hand to hers, and she takes it, mounting up on his glorious white steed, which gallops away, and she is where he is, and they are going to his castle in the sky, where their flower grows forever, and they are living happily ever after. If you ask me anything in my name, I will do it.